The restrictions have lifted. I can finally talk about the Dart Zone Mark III, which is coming out online on October 1st. The box it comes in is pretty unassuming. Oh, here we go. I am stoked. One half-length dart magazine, one full-length dart magazine, the scope, half-length dart mag adapter, safety glasses. And our first look at these new darts. The blaster itself requires 8 AA batteries to operate, and it takes 2 AAAs to operate the digital scope. And I'm excited because right now I'm going to try out this blaster for the very first time. Right now I'm loading up these new Dart Zone Pro half-length darts, and they look almost identical to the original ones. They have that same bamboo shape to them. Let's try it out. That is amazing! The trigger is so snappy, so responsive. That is one of the most smooth operating semi-auto blasters I've ever used. We're going to take the switch, put it in that position, and hopefully just a barrage of darts comes out. Let's try it out. Suffice to say, that is not nearly as impressive as the semi-auto. The rate of fire is incredibly slow. I mean, I'm just testing it out right now, but it seems like semi-auto is the superior choice. Well, stick around because later on I find out that that's not entirely true. Thanks to Dart Zone for sending this blaster out to me so I can make this review video. I'm not being paid to say anything, all my opinions are my own. The design of the Dart Zone Pro Mark III is very much in line with the rest of the Dart Zone Pro lineup. No paint on here, and instead just focuses on a very simple shell with a lot of red, some orange, and a lot of different tones of black and gray. And it kinda looks less expensive compared to what you actually pay for it. When holding this thing, I have next to no complaints. All the stuff right here, from the trigger to the grip, it's all super comfortable. You get a more premium feel with this textured grip. It's very similar to the material seen in the Dart Zone Pro Mark 1.1, but a big improvement here, it's a lot more snug. Look at how smooth that is. One more time. Up front, you can rest your hand right here when operating the blaster. It's pretty comfortable overall, but sometimes I do miss that idea of having a dedicated grip right here. There is a rail down here, so if anyone's so inclined to do so, I'm sure some people are going to be popping on something here. Yeah, this stock is awesome. It does its job, extremely sturdy, and very easy to move back and forth, or just completely remove altogether to put on a different stock. And you know what? This is actually removable. This is my first time removing it. Oh, all right. As we can see, there's a rail on top with an included optic sight. The sight is completely removable. You just shove in a couple batteries, you have your on and off switch here, and you get a nice red light that shines onto the glass. Now this thing is just missing crosshairs. Up front we have this giant muzzle. I'm sure there's some people who will completely chop this thing off. I really wish there's a way to easily remove it. I'm just realizing it right now, but even with 8 batteries in this thing, this is not a heavy blaster at all. It just never crossed my mind at any point. So up front we see a little bit of chunk, a little bit of thickness, but overall a pretty thin profile. This blaster is extremely easy to use. If you've tried out a semi or a full auto blaster, chances are right off the bat you're going to know how to use this thing. With semi-auto, you just pull down the trigger every time you want to fire a dart. And for full auto, you just hold down the trigger. And honestly, the trigger pull for the semi-auto is one of the best I've ever seen in a blaster. Going to be testing out its accuracy for the very first time. This is only 25 feet away, but unfortunately that's the best that I can do right now. Let's try hitting that middle target. Even at close range, it seems like darts are already straying off path. This time around, let's try the Dart Zone Max Pro darts. So these are the ones that you can buy from Target. Let's switch this guy to full auto and see if that changes our accuracy results. Rate of fire seems a lot more significant compared to when I first tried it out, and there seems to be a tighter grouping of all the darts. Moving on to standard length darts, this is where performance really starts to surprise me, but not in a good way. We have it on semi-auto. Let's see if it actually fires all this. That is incredibly erratic. Those look like elite darts coming out of that, so I don't know if it's a mag. Let's keep trying it out. Yep, that's still pretty bad. Keeping the standard length darts but switching from semi-auto to full auto, I definitely was not expecting these results. What? If you saw what I saw, and assuming this is not a flaw, those darts flew out as if it was burst fire mode. It wasn't consistent like what we saw with the half-length darts. We saw pop, 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 pop. I wonder if this is a lemon, or if it's meant to do that. From Talon mags to Nerf drum mags to different types of darts, the Mark III really seems quite cross-compatible with a wide variety of different ammo and dart platforms. One of the darts has already ripped apart, but that's probably my fault for firing against a door at such close range. There's absolutely no doubt about it. The half-length darts are much more accurate when it comes to full auto versus semi-auto. I'm actually super shocked to see how well they perform with full auto capabilities. But performance with standard length darts is really weird. We have that weird burst fire when it comes to full auto, and they're just really inaccurate. From my limited testing with different types of darts and magazines, I've yet to run into any major jams. There's one hiccup, but that was barely anything. The feeding of darts is pretty good, but I still wish there was a jam door here. Can the Dart Zone Mark III deliver the punches? Absolutely. Throwing this guy onto the chronograph with the yellow Dart Zone Pro half-length darts, we're getting around 154 feet per second. And for the Dart Zone Max Pro darts, around 147 FPS. Moving on to standard length darts. For the yellow Dart Zone Pro darts, we're getting 148 FPS. And for good old regular Adventure Force darts, we're getting 143 FPS. So no, this is not the most powerful Dart Zone Pro blaster within the lineup. If I'm correct, that title is still held by the Dart Zone Pro Mark 1.1, with average initial velocity being around 160 to 170 FPS with the correct darts. Performance with standard length darts is just a total wash. Just don't use them at all. Stick to those half lengths and go full auto if you really want that accuracy, but you do have to sacrifice a bit of that rate of fire as well. The Mark III is extremely responsive once you hold down that rev trigger. It doesn't take too long to rev up and you're just good to go. Darts do not last very long when fired out of this blaster, and like some other motorized blasters, the Mark III does create some foam confetti, and that's from little pieces of foam flying off the darts. At this point, my yellow Dart Zone Pro half-length darts look like they came out of 100 different battles. I think they're at the end of their lifespan. Unfortunately, I think that's just the nature of these high-performance motorized blasters. The Mark III is worse than I thought, but actually that's totally my fault for caving into the hype and putting Dart Zone on such a high pedestal and expecting a flawless blaster. Of course, a total rookie mistake. No blaster is without flaw. I think where I really got bogged down was seeing that inconsistent performance with the standard length darts, and seeing that accuracy wasn't that great for semi-auto versus full auto. But honestly, I think those are some cons that people can get past because this is an incredible blaster. By no means is this bad. This is the first high-performance pro flywheeler blaster out there on store shelves, and Dart Zone did an amazing job with it. Really easy to use, high FPS, really accurate when using full auto, and it's so cross-compatible. As of this video, Dart Zone is the only major blaster brand to have a blaster like this available to buy. The Dart Zone Pro Mark III will retail for $130 USD, online only, and for the first time ever, it's also going to be available at the same time on Amazon Canada. But mind you, it's going to be more expensive since that's in Canadian dollars. Right out of the box for $130, you get a blaster that's compatible with half-length darts, full-length darts, it's got semi-auto, it's got full auto, and it's a high-performance blaster. No modding required, anyone can go pick this up and go to a Nerf war. However, you have to take into account, this takes 8 AA batteries. Over time, the money you spend on batteries is really going to add up. What could have made this blaster even more next level was adding in a rechargeable battery, or at least an option to buy something like that to put in here. But to be fair, if Dart Zone did put a rechargeable battery in here, the price for the consumer would probably jump up by at least $30, but I think it would be worth it. I don't like buying batteries. To be transparent, I've only had a few days to test out the Mark III, so my opinions may change in the future, but right now I think if you're looking for a blaster that's pretty much as powerful or more powerful than the Nexus Pro, but now in full auto or in semi-auto, this is something to seriously consider. I really hope my initial thoughts were of value, and if you're interested, I have a more detailed review of the last Dart Zone Pro blaster which came out, and that's the Mark II. So click the video on the left if you're interested. To buy the latest and greatest Nerf blasters, I have links down below in the description. Thanks for watching, hope you do something great today, and get that bread.